All right, so today we're going to be doing the opposite of what we've been working on the past couple classes. Instead of drawing the line given the function rule, we're going to come up with the function rule given the line. To do this, we're going to first find the slope. Remember, slope is the letter m, and it is the change in y over change in x. Then we're going to find the y-intercept, which is the b, and where it crosses the y-axis. And last, we're going to substitute the slope and y-intercept into y equals mx plus b. So here's our first example. Prove that, before we do that, first we have to find the equation. Then we'll prove that 1210 is on the line. So we have to take a look at the line and figure out the slope and the y-intercept. So here is our y-intercept. Okay, so the y-intercept is going to be 2. And now I have to find the slope. So these are a little bit tricky because you have to find 2 points that actually cross. So our y-intercept crosses here. This point looks like it crosses there. This point here. So I have 3 points. Actually, this point also crosses here. I have 4 points, and I can find the slope between any 2. I just have to make sure I simplify it. So I'm going to move this around. If I decided to go from this very first one all the way up and over to this one, I can find the change in y over the change in x, or the rise over the run. So the rise would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the run, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is 9. So our slope would be 6/9, but 6/9 simplified is 2/3 because I can divide both the numerator and the denominator by 3. Now, if I hadn't chosen those two to look at, and I chose two that were closer together, like these two, now my rise over my run is exactly what our simplified slope was, as 2/3. So it will give you a more accurate simplified slope if you find points that are closer together. If you don't, you just have to make sure you simplify it. So now we've got our slope, we've got our y-intercept, we have enough to write our equation. So our function rule in this case would be y equals 2/3 x plus 2. M being the 2/3 and B being that plus 2. So now we want to prove that 1210 is a solution to that graph. Now, it's not on our coordinate plane because it's not big enough. But if we prove that it's on the equation, then it would be on the line if our coordinate plane was larger. So we have 12 as our x and 10 as our y. We do 10 equals 2/3 of 12 plus 2. Remember my trick, we divide by the denominator and multiply by the numerator. So 10 equals 12 divided by 3 is 4, times 2 is 8, plus 2. So 10 equals 10, proving that that point 1210 would definitely be on that line if our coordinate plane was larger. All right, let's take a look at the next example. All right, so number 2. Again, we need to look for some points on this graph to figure out the slope. So it looks like it's crossing here, the y-intercept. It's off a little bit. I think it should be crossing there, here, here for sure. It actually looks like all of those points are going to work out, but let's go with those ones that I just picked. I think it should be there. It's a little bit off. All right, so let's go with those ones. So if we were to go rise over run, up and over between 2 points, here this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 6/6. If I pick two closer points, like here, up and over, this would be 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So that's 3/3. Well, 6/6 and 3/3 equal 1. So it looks like I could even use these 2 points here, and it would be up 1 over 1. So our slope is 1. And then we have to find our y-intercept, which is one of the points we just used, or that I noted, this point right here. So it's down 4 from the origin. So that means our y-intercept is 4. And then we can write our equation, y equals x minus 4, because the y-intercept is 4 below the origin. So I should have put -4 there. All right, so now let's prove that that point -10, -14 would be on the line. So again, this is the x and this is the y. So we have -14 is equal to -10 minus 4. And -14 is definitely equal to -10 minus 4. So we proved that if our line continued and our coordinate plane was larger, we would have that as one of the points on the line. All right, let's continue. Okay, number 3. Okay, again, the hardest part, especially with these ones, is making sure we find the correct points that it's crossing at. So it looks like the y-intercept should be here. This point works, and then follow the pattern. This one works, this one works, this one works, then this one and this one. All right, so now I want to find, well, the y-intercept is a little bit easier to find first. It's this point right here, and that's 5 below the y-axis. So my y-intercept is going to be -5. And now we got to find the slope. So picking any 2 points to go between, it would be from here down to here, for example. So since I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm going to say -6 and write 1, 2, 3, that's +3. And -6/3 equals -2. So my slope is equal to -2. Now I could have just picked these 2 points right here, and then it would have been 2/1 right away. Okay, so -2/1 right away. So it's really important that you recognize just by looking at this graph that it's going downhill, therefore it should have a negative slope. So now we can write our equation, y equals -2x minus 5, which could also be written as y equals -5 minus 2x. Either work. They are both correct. Okay, on to number 4. Again, this one's going downhill, so that should be a huge hint that this is going to have a negative slope. I'm going to start with the y-intercept first. That's this point right here. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up from the origin. So it's going to have a y-intercept of 4. Now we want to find other points. It looks like this one will work, and so will this one. So again, if I go down and over, this would be down 2 and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my slope would be 2/8, but 2/8 simplifies to 1/4. And if I had chosen instead to use these 2 points, no, go back. This one and this one rather. This one and the y-intercept, it would be down 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is 1/4. I have to remember to put the negative sign because it's going downhill. So -1/4 is our slope and 4 is our y-intercept. So we're going to rewrite it as y equals 4 minus 1/4 x, or y equals -1/4 x plus 4. Either equation works. They are both equivalent. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Number 5. Again, first we want to look for those points. So the y-intercept is right here. That's at -1. And then this one has a positive slope because it's going uphill from right to left. We look for some other points where it crosses. This one here, going down this one here. And we find 2 points to figure out the slope between. So if I decided to go up and over all the way but to these 2 furthest points, it would be up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 9/6 would be our slope, but we have to simplify it. And 9/6, if we divide by 3, we get 3/2. So if I had just gone to 2 of the closer points, here to here, up 1, 2, 3, over 1, 2, so 3/2 is definitely the slope. So now we can write our equation as y equals 3 halves x minus 1. Starting at -1 and going up 3 over 2 repeatedly. All right, last one I'm going to do with you, number 6. We start by finding the y-intercept. That's that point right there. So it's 3 above the y-axis, so our y-intercept is positive 3. And then we look for other points that are crossing. This one here, and this one here. Find our slope between any 2 points. Down and over. So it's a negative slope for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's negative 12 over 1, 2, 3 over 3. So our slope is negative 12 divided by 3, which is negative 4. And again, if I had decided just to look at 2 of the points that were closest, like these 2, I'm definitely going down 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. So it would be negative 4 as the slope. All right, so our equation for this one would be y equals slope negative 4 times x, y-intercept plus 3. Or we could turn it around, y equals 3 minus 4x. Either equation is fine as long as the slope is the number attached to the x. All right. So hopefully you're understanding where I'm coming with getting these numbers from and how I'm putting it into the equation, because you guys are going to try some soon, but not yet. I was wrong. There are 2 more for me to do with you, you lucky dogs. All right, so taking a look at this one, again, we look for those points. Here we go, right there's one. That's our y-intercept up at 5. And we look for other points that cross here, 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 and here. Find the 2 closest ones to find the slope between, so you don't have to worry about simplifying. It'll be down 1, 2, 3, down, so it's negative 3, and over 1. So our slope is negative 3 over 1, or just negative 3. Then putting it together for the equation, y equals 5 minus 3x, or y equals negative 3x plus 5. Either will work. All right, we'll do one more together. So now again, we look for the y-intercept. That's this point here, and that's, again, 5 above. So it's going to be plus 5. I think 5 was my lucky number when I was making these problems. We look for other points that are going to cross. So the y-intercept is 5. Now we'll look for those other points. Looks like here, and here, and here, and here. So it's going over or up and over. 1, 2, and then over. 1, 2, 3. So that's 2/3. So our equation is y equals 2/3 x plus 5. All right. I think that's it for us. Yes, you are now on your own or with a partner going to work through questions 9 through 14. Make sure you check in with me so I can see that you've done it correctly, and then you can start today's exit ticket.